The Last of Us Part 1 is the fully reworked remake of the critically acclaimed PlayStation exclusive from Naughty Dog. Since the original's release back in 2013, the franchise has remained a staple of the video game medium, with some of the best storytelling we've ever seen. Hello there guys, it's Aidan here, and just in case you didn't know, The Last of Us is one of my all-time favourites. And despite originally being a bit sceptical of a remake when the rumours started up, I now find myself counting down the days till I get to see the greatest glow up in PlayStation history. Naturally, as someone that has played the original and the PS4 remaster a combined total of around 7 or 8 times, and no, I still don't have that platinum, I have a few story moments that I'm itching to replay with the new animations, the new gameplay and all that power from the PlayStation 5. But with so many to choose from, we decided to narrow it all down to the 7 best The Last of Us moments that we can't wait to experience all over again. So let's waste no time and get into it like we have a pack of clickers on our heels. What better place to begin this list than at the very beginning? The Last of Us, hands down, has one of the greatest opening levels of any game out there. From the quiet yet unsettling sounds of a sleepy Sarah shuffling her way through an empty home to the chaotic mania in the panic-filled streets. The new 3D audio from PS5 headsets is really going to be where one of the biggest improvements will be felt for this part of the game, as it establishes the importance of sound for the whole project so delicately. However, the whole thing is such a masterclass in how to introduce a world that we really had to widen that moment descriptor for this video to include the entire opening prologue. But it really is integral to the success of The Last of Us and establishing its tone, as we experience the quiet unease of characters coming to grips with just how serious this whole thing may be.
Hey Sarah, how you holding up, honey?
I'm fine.
The car ride in particular is a real highlight as we steadily escalate the widespread horror, and all from the perspective of a young, scared girl. After making a bloody escape from their home, Joel and Sarah hit the road with Tommy. The tension steadily cranks up as we pass speeding cop cars, a burning farmhouse, a family begging for a ride, standstill traffic, and of course, the car crash.
Oh no.
And it all culminates in a heartbreaking showcase from Troy Baker and Hannah Hayes, as that little girl we've come to love in just 20 minutes dies in her father's arms. No matter how many times I've played this prologue, it still hits. Okay, we've all had time to dry our eyes a little, let's move on with the list. So we were talking about the importance of sound in the last scene, and now it's all about that graphical clarity, and there are very few scenes that showcase it more than Billstown. Once Ellie and Joel have escaped the grips of the city, they are finally exposed to the untamed beauty of a post-apocalyptic world. Even back in 2013, this was the first true showcase of how good the whole thing looked, so I'm especially excited to see how it pans out with the help of those beefy PS5s. From Ellie's first walk through the woods to the sun-bleached streets of Billstown, this is the first segment of the game that widens a little to allow players to take in the details and soak up the atmosphere. It's a moment of respite for our characters who have spent the first few hours of the game evading the military, sneaking around clickers, and of course, they just lost Tess, Joel's partner in crime. So obviously there is the occasional clicker to be dealt with, but this is where you first encounter Ellie's love for video games, a hint at Joel's love for music, and the pair begin that long bonding process. Like many of the special moments in The Last of Us, it's quiet, but it's allowing those characters to work their way into your heart while further expanding upon its world. One of the most action-packed segments of The Last of Us takes place in Pittsburgh, a city tormented by murdering bandits. This was nearly another pick of mine that included the entire level because it's just all perfection, but I decided to narrow it down to the final escape from the city. With new characters Henry and Sam joining forces with Ellie and Joel, the group make one big push to finally escape Pittsburgh. While it seems to have gone to plan to start as you take out the skeleton crew guarding the bridge gate, It all goes awry as the rumbling Humvee, mounted with barbed wire and a lovely 50 cal machine gun, come knocking at the door. This vehicle has been a constant looming threat in the streets of Pittsburgh, and the haptics are sure to amplify this murderous vehicle's level of intimidation. Partner that up with the thundering 3D audio of that 50 cal, and you've got yourself a heartstopper on your hands. But it isn't just the action that warrants this moment's inclusion, it's also because it solidifies Joel and Ellie as a team, as she sticks with Joel after the two are left by Henry and Sam, and shows once more just how ballsy Ellie can be as she takes the plunge into a river when Joel isn't ready to take that risk. Somewhat similar in style to that of Billstown, albeit much further into the game, the university level is one of the most memorable moments in the Last of Us campaign. After almost parting ways but deciding to finish the job together, Joel and Ellie are just chatting away as they approach what is supposed to be the Firefly lab in a beautifully dilapidated university campus. Joel and Ellie are much closer at this point, and we get small insights into their lives before they met as they open up to one another. The university itself brings that authentic sense of setting that Naughty Dog are so good at as you explore its campus via horseback, and you just know you're going to be feeling those clip-clops for the DualSense's haptic feedback. However, underpinning the whole thing is this growing tension, as building after building, you're steadily realising that the Fireflies are not there. It's a whole mixture of emotions. You're relieved that the two are going to get to spend more time together, but you're also nervously awaiting the dangers that caused the lab to go vacant in the first place.
Get down!
As per usual, it all ends in disaster, but I fondly remember my time just exploring this quiet campus and getting to know more about these two characters before we are thrust into the third act. Right after the university, we have our encounter with David the Cannibal. This unnerving section of the game is pivotal to Ellie's character development, as for the first time she's not only left alone, but also responsible for Joel's survival, after he picks up a nasty case of rebar through the torso. Ouch. However, it's more importantly the section of the game that very nearly kills the child in Ellie, as she is forced to truly encounter the horrors of this post-apocalyptic world. After being reeled in and captured by a settlement of cannibals, she is forced to sneak and fight her way out of their small snowy town, and it all ends in a climactically tense game of cat and mouse in a burning restaurant, countering the aggressive plays we've been able to make with Joel up until this point. With improved facial animations, it's really that heartbreaking murder scene that I'm looking forward to, where Ellie finally gets the upper hand on David and is forced to brutalise him with a machete. It's a somber moment that looks to be made all the better on PlayStation 5, and we got a very brief glimpse of it in the reveal trailer. But the thing we're really looking for is that embrace between Ellie and Joel, where he finally accepts her as his surrogate daughter, with that reaffirming baby girl, a name he called Sarah, as she died in his arms. One of the most iconic moments from the series just had to be here. As the murdering of David lingers over a now closed off Ellie, we really needed a moment of light among the dark. And that's exactly what this moment is, as Ellie runs off in wonder as one grazing giraffe pokes its head in for a little clap. As simple as this moment is, it's incredibly powerful. It allows us to alleviate the weight of the journey, and after so much torment and disaster, realise that there's still beauty and a level of peace in this world. Of course, it's immediately followed by more torment and disaster, but would you just give us this moment? This is going to be another scene amplified by those stellar graphics, especially as we move off to the rooftop and watch a herd of giraffes amble off into the distance as the soundtrack by Gustavo Santaolalla serenades us into a calmer state of mind. And for those revisiting the game, which I would like to assume is anyone watching this video, if you haven't played the game and you are watching this video, what are you doing? Go and play it first, then come back. But anyway, there is a sadness over this whole scene because it's one of the last moments where Ellie and Joel's relationship isn't tainted by this great lie. And it's made all the more poignant by Joel's tempting offer to give up the whole ordeal and just head back to Jackson. Of course, Naughty Dog being Naughty Dog, what's best to follow a nice peaceful moment than a lovely little massacre? And that's exactly what we go right into after the giraffe scene as we arrive at the hospital in Salt Lake City, aka the Firefly Lab. Joel and Ellie are separated in this level after Joel was knocked out and Ellie nearly drowned. And this is really the culmination of all that emotional legwork that has gone into this game. You're told you can't see Ellie again and she is currently being prepped for a procedure that will kill her. We know, and Joel knows, that that just can't happen. While we get into plenty of skirmishes in this game, this level allows you to go all out with all the upgrades, all the weapons, and that little bit of emotional motivation to murder every one of the fireflies that gets in your way. It's a cathartic level of sorts as you massacre your way through the lab to keep the one person in your life that has any meaning to you. It shows just how good a job Naughty Dog has done to make you care for these characters enough to willingly go along with something that's so very wrong. And effectively you're becoming one of the bad guys that you've been avoiding and defending yourself against this whole game. And it's all going to be amplified as you feel every one of those kills thanks to the use of the adaptive triggers, meaning every trigger squeeze and shiv used is bringing you closer and closer to the game itself. So those are just some of our picks for the best moments in The Last of Us that we can't wait to replay in the Part 1 remake. Let us know down below some of your favourite moments, and of course, if you'd like to see more PlayStation based content like this, then be sure to subscribe to us right here on Push Square.